All right, well, let's get into it. So the album New World Killer comes out on Halloween. Was that on purpose, or was that just kind of a serendipitous kind of surprise?
It was a surprise. That was a label decision, actually. They pitched that to us, and immediately we were like, yeah. So,
Right, that's perfect.
yeah, that was an easy yes.
I just interviewed Paulo from Trivium yesterday, and their EP is also coming out on Halloween.
Oh,
I
hell
guess with
yeah.
it
I think
being
there's
a
a few.
Friday, yeah, I guess with it being a Friday, there probably is.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice when it turns out
Um,
that way.
so it'll be a good day for music.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You guys have released two singles so far. We're gonna see you on the Fit for a King tour in on November 7th, I think is when you guys are gonna be here. Since the album will be out by then, are there songs outside of the potential two that you guys are gonna plan on doing?
Yeah, there's a few that we're playing on the off the record. Do you want us to tell?
Well, I want to tell you my favorite one first, and then you can either
Yes,
like
yeah,
make me
please do.
excited or break my heart, either way. The first one, The Disaster, is such a wild ride of a song. I love the drum solo in the middle that you don't hear, super often outside when it's just like by itself. And then kind of like the 50s kind of like um crooner ending to it.
hmm
It's
hmm
just a wild ride altogether. But I can't
Yeah.
imagine that would be a super easy one to do because of that. So,
That originally was like, we're like, that's got to be a set opener, like all that stuff. And I think eventually it will be, not on this tour.
yeah.
I think because the album comes out like a couple days in the tour, we wanted to let the album sit with people and kind of feel out what different people's favorites are going to
Yeah.
be. But we definitely chose a few of our favorites that aren't singles and threw them in the set list. And I think part of why the disaster didn't make it is because we're like one of the openers on this tour.
Hmm.
Um, our set list is really short, like 30 minutes,
Yeah.
35. So we try to cram as many songs as possible. And that
Yep.
one eats up a good amount of time, in the beginning. So
For sure. And this is your, I want to say fifth album, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys do have others that you have to, especially from the last one that did so well. You of course have to pull from the others as well.
yeah, we always like to incorporate songs from our discography and all the
Of
old
course.
stuff too. We enjoy playing those old songs and keeping them alive.
Okay, well, hopefully it's my second favorite is multiple. So I'm sure one of them is going to be on this set list. Servant of Chaos is one of them. I think that one's such a freaking cool one too. Hand of the Reaper has such a fun beginning. And Looking Glass. Those are the ones that I was like I can't pick. And the only reason Shallow and Shedding Skin didn't fit in there is just because they're shorter songs. I want, like I'm like I want a longer song when I'm seeing it live. So
It's
Yeah,
funny you
that's
say that.
those are we're playing the two that you mentioned that you didn't care as much for, which
no,
is
it's
really
not that I
funny.
don't care for them. I think they're
Well, I know what you
super
mean.
awesome songs. Yeah, they're just shorter. So, but
Yeah,
that
I
makes
think
sense with opening too.
Exactly.
yeah, I think we have a headliner planned for this record next year, and the lineup is insane. It's so fucking awesome. I can't wait to announce it. But I think we're saving a lot of the expansiveness to performing on the record for that tour.
Makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
So with the headlining tour, is it going to be a North American tour?
Yes,
Okay. Is it going to be a big one, like to where? Okay, cool.
definitely.
Because on the west side here, we sometimes get well, especially in Idaho, we get skipped a lot because the states are so huge, and you have
Sure.
to hit Washington, you have to hit Oregon, you have to hit California,
Yeah.
you have to hit Nevada, you have to hit Utah. So we sometimes kind of get skipped. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Well, we'll be around.
yeah, yeah, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
Every time it happens, I'm like, I get it.
I've only been to Idaho, I think, like twice in my whole career, with Spite. So yeah, you're right. It's not a spot we hit very often.
No, it's a beautiful state, but it is kind of out in
It
the
is
middle
beautiful.
of of nowhere. We do have a pretty intense local metal scene here, though, so I feel like metal bands do pretty well here. The metal
I think
genre.
the
Oh, go ahead.
no, sorry, I was gonna say the last show we played there, I think was the last tour we did a year ago with Dahlia and Dying Fetus, and it was a great show, and I loved
Boise was awesome.
yeah, the town was great, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's with metal being such a, I say this all the time, such a genuine genre that people, I mean, there's no like fair weather metal fan. Metalheads are to the depths of their soul, to the core. They love music. And so, and they love the obviously the genre. And so like we have a lot of metal shows around here, but there's always support too because we have such a, it's I almost, you know how they have like documentaries on the Seattle grunge scene and the LA pop or the LA punk scene and stuff like that. I could totally see eventually there being one coming out about the Boise metal community because it's so much, I think, bigger than probably a lot of people, realize.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
can
think a
imagine.
lot of times in the communities you don't like, I don't want to say don't think of as often, but obviously the tours don't go there um as much as they should. And I think a lot of the shows we played at, especially as a younger band, it was always the places, the unexpected places that were maybe a little bit off the normal path that did so well because the people that live in those places have that sense of community, and the shows go so much harder there,
Yeah.
and people care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Plus we don't have a whole lot else to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely like it's an event when the bands come through, So
Mhm.
it's definitely it makes it very memorable.
For sure. For sure. So live show wise, what is you guys have a lot of energy. You guys are really, really intense. I can only imagine that shows in a live setting and that energy exchange is probably incredible. What can you expect with a live Spite show?
Why don't you
I
start,
think
Alex?
I was gonna say I think New World Killer the video is probably the best depiction of what you get when you go to a Spide show, just because it's only us in that video moving to
Mm,
our music, and it's not fabricated or anything. Like that's exactly how we would act on stage while playing our songs. Like we're having a good time, and like the energy is so irresistible that like even though it looks like we're trying really hard, that's just what comes out of us.
right. Yeah. I love that. Um, Now, the other video that you guys have already released before is an intense video. You guys have to do some acting there, which of course, even with doing live performance ones, you still have to do acting, and which I'm sure is really awkward. But in this one, it's like an actual like kind of movie, kind of video. Tell me about the making of it and the idea and feeling behind it. It came out at a very unfortunate time, but it's an intense video.
It did. Making that was incredible. It was a 2-day shoot. I love working with Eric Richter. He's been doing videos with us since The Root of All Evil, since like 2019. And I think our chemistry is just it's like magic together. And I think that he truly like I joke about him being like an extra member of Spite. It's just because he totally understands everything we're trying to accomplish. And he let us get really hands on this time too with the videos, and we were there for the whole treatment process and the editing process to the end, so
Wow.
they're exactly how we wanted them to be. um Lights Out video was incredible. It was the first time we really had like built a set, for a video. So that was a really cool experience, and the crew was really awesome. So it was also an intense shoot because we're so limited on time, and we had this big idea, and trying to cram it all into 2 days
Two days,
was
that's
was a
that's
was
gonna
a
add
lot.
how long?
It was
Yeah.
so much, and I remember just like tension was really high at the end, and it was just, yeah, it was wild shoot. So when it came out, the obviously the reward was a little bit you know it was yeah, it was difficult.
Overshadowed is that is the
You know,
nice word.
yeah, and I think I've talked about this on a few interviews, and I waited kill these interviews to really talk about this because, you know, I prefer like a real discourse rather than just a bunch of people commenting on something.
Absolutely.
Um, I think, you know, it was horrible that that happened, and it sucks that I even have to like talk about it because I don't
Totally.
want to be associated with that
Of
like
course.
directly.
Of
And
course.
talking about it makes me feel like it's making it about me, and it's just not, you
Hmm.
know? And I think it's just like, you know, it's rest in peace to those people. And I hope, you know, I don't pray, but you know, I I pray that, you know, good for their families and everything. And you know, I stand by the video that we made, and you know, there's some people telling us that we should take it down in light of this or in spite or light of the situation and all that. And I just we decided not to do that because
Yeah.
you know it's again it's not that's not about us.
Hmm.
And yeah, it does depict something real and
Yep.
horrible in the
Yep.
world, and that's the harsh reality of it. And
Yes.
like that's the kind of music we make is we
Hmm.
show those things. And we knew it was going to be a little bit intense going into it and making that video, but we couldn't we couldn't imagine that was going to happen that day
Of
in such
course.
a similar format too.
Right.
It was disturbing. It was eerie, and
Hmm.
none of us felt good about it. You know,
Right.
none
Of
of us
course.
felt good about it at all. So I think after that, you know, we were excited to release New World Killer and kind of just be like, hey guys, like let's just get back to playing in the fucking band and really, you
Yes.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yes. You know, I
uh
think there is something really important about addressing the ugliness of the world. I agree with you. I don't think that that's a thing that anybody should shy away from because we're living in it. And so what's the point of trying to pretend that that's stuff that doesn't happen, you know? So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah. So do you guys have another video coming out before the release of the album?
we actually don't. We spent a lot going into those two videos, and you know, convincing Rise to give us some budget for those, you know, because we went a little bit outside the box. We had some crazy ideas, you know. Uh, if we, you know, end up getting more or something, there is one more treatment I would love to make happen for the record that I have planned out. But right now we just have another a visualizer coming out for
Mm-hmm.
another single before the record comes out, and I think the song is just amazing standalone. So I think people are going to enjoy it.
Some awesome. Um, so I looked through the comments. I don't know if you guys look through comments at this point in your career, but I was going through all the comments and even on Lights Out, it was all very positive, very like love you guys. These guys, you know, are still maintaining So True while also growing and evolving. It was all very positive feedback. And again, I don't know if you guys look at that stuff, but I
Oh,
scrolled
for
for a
sure.
while because I was like, there's a lot of comments here, and that's not always, you know, not always
I,
the case.
I think people that say they don't look at comments are lying, you know? Yeah, so you definitely read that stuff. And I think that was the discourse we were prepared for, I think, with Lights
Hmm.
Out, is we were prepared for a little bit of that divide. And we encourage people to talk about it, you know?
Yes.
And I think again, that's what we were prepared for, not what happened outside of that. But Alex, I feel like you could say some good stuff about like Lights Out and
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, that song, like, it's exploring a different key on guitar than where we
Mhm.
would normally be with Spite. Like, it's not that we're tuned up or anything, but we're playing on maybe a higher registry on guitar. So, like, a lot of people made the Lamb of God comment or the
Uh,
One's Lost comments, and I love that stuff because
mhm.
at the end of the day, it's like those bands do play in that key on the guitar. And although people might not know why it sounds like that, that's why. It's like they make that association. And I love that. There were some people, though, that did clap back saying, oh, I hope this is not indicative of a direction. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I know what's coming. And it's like, there's so much more texture in songs. And if people can just see this as a song in the context
Um,
of a record, I think people are going to understand.
yes. No, because you guys have so much in this album. Oh my gosh, it's such an incredible album. I've listened to it so many times. It, I, I can't stop. I mean, it's 100% going to be in my top 20 at the end of the year. I already know,
fuck
and
yeah.
probably in the top five. I'll I'm pretty sure, because it had such a huge impact on me. And really, while I do really enjoy that genre, I'm pretty much kind of all across the board with genres for the most part. But it's not one that I normally would have realized or recognized I would have fallen so much in love with. And so it was a really cool experience for me. And really, the disaster just set the tone. But you guys, as far as guitar, there's so many different styles of guitar playing. I mean, I hear some Dimebag, feelings in one of the songs.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
different songs have different, I mean, not only, I mean, vocally, you're just all over the place. You can do so many different kinds of vocals, but yeah, musically, especially because I love guitar, and so that's always where my ears go. And you have so many different tricks as far as guitar too, and then you put the soundscapes on top of it. Like, there's so much to unpack in this album, and I think that that's something that a lot of people are gonna really enjoy, and hopefully, the more they listen to it, they'll, metalheads listen to music with their whole heart and soul, so I'm sure they'll unpack all the layers as well. And I'm sure there's still more layers that I haven't even unpacked with it.
No, I appreciate you recognize that. That's so cool.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, you get it for sure.
Well, there's
I
then you have some parts that bass is alone, drums are alone, like you really amplify all the different instruments. And especially with
100%.
bass, that doesn't always happen. And so it's cool to be able to hear it instead of it just be like kind of the background
Oh
noise
yeah,
as
we're
well.
we're such a percussive, like rhythm-based band that I don't know if we could ever get away with like backtracking bass like a lot of bands do or anything like that. Like everything needs to have its own spot and be its own entity because it all contributes.
I think everyone on this record was given an opportunity to really shine. Like every member of the
Yeah,
band
I
has their
agree.
moments, and I think they have their moments in every song, you know.
Yes.
So it's really fun to listen to, and the album feels like a roller coaster,
Hmm.
and it's just enjoyable. Like it's like you said, you're not really sure what you're gonna get, and
Hmm.
it's just fun. It's fun to click play, you know.
We were talking about this with someone else, how like there are oftentimes, especially with like the climate of like single format with metal songs now, it's like you kind of listen to an album nowadays and all the songs end up sounding very similar because they were kind of all trying to find like follow this formula of a song that worked. And I just know when I grew up, like my favorite metal records, maybe I didn't like all of the songs equally, but they all had their own energy and cohesiveness that made the record what it was and like how songs connected to each other. I think for me, that's what makes a record like heavy and like memorable. So that's what we're trying to
Yeah.
go for.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I think you guys definitely did a good job of that. I like albums that, like you said, it's cohesive, but yeah, it does keep you on your toes of where you're just not 100% sure where it's going to go or what you're going to hear next. And there's enough distinction between either the moments in the songs or the songs themselves that it doesn't sound like you're just listening to one song the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, since you brought up some old favorites, what are some of your guys' older favorites or newer favorites?
You know,
From
we
Spite.
No, outside of Spite. I mean,
Oh, okay. I
okay.
was like,
from
what?
Spite, from Spite, it's gonna be New World Killer because that's the new one and that's the most
Yeah.
exciting one, of course.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, for this record particularly, I think we were all very deeply immersed in Pantera.
Mhm.
Um, that band it just kind of keeps reemerging because the guitar work is timeless,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like it's so distasteful nowadays to be like, oh, Pantera is your favorite band, but it's like I can't deny the fact that that guy is just so good at guitar and like influenced my playing from when I was a kid. It just comes out.
I have to agree. I think that when we look at a band like Pantera, they're everything that Spite wants to be as a band live and
As a band.
songwriting. Songwriting. Yeah, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
musically.
Right, of
I
course.
think. Yeah. So I just think like the energy that's brought on stage, the songwriting, it's just so aggressive and intense. But again, with their discography, they're able to portray heavy and pissed off in so many different ways where it doesn't get tired,
Right.
but it still sounds like Pantera,
Hmm.
but they can do it so many different ways. And I think I relate to it that way with Spite.
More
When
Right.
you watch
importantly,
Pantera live, it's like,
well, like it's just because that band, like you can tell that they all are one with their instruments and that they've practiced so much that when they play live, it doesn't even look like they're trying. It just
Yeah.
looks like the music is coming out and they're looking at the audience. Whereas, I don't know, there's just a lot of instances now where you'll see some doofus staring straight down at his guitar, moving side to side, and you're like,
The
where did
instruments
our
playing
film
them.
go?
The instruments playing them.
I do miss when people actually took pride in like playing guitar a little bit, but hey, maybe that'll come back.
Well, you guys definitely do have that groove part of metal as well incorporated into the music as well, so that doesn't surprise me that that's one that you guys
For
really
sure.
enjoy. Yeah.
That's the main one for sure. But like other than that, I think we had a kind of a soundboard when we were making the record. And I know there were bands like A Life Once Lost was on there, Black Breath was on there, Napalm Death. Like, and we all kind of went through phases with just like going, man, this is the energy that I want to come out through this record.
Right. Real quick, one more Pantera question, side question. Favorite Pantera album?
Um, Overall, because all of the albums have like the singles on them, that makes it hard to choose. But as an album, Cowboys from Hell or Volga Display of Power for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm far beyond driven.
And Great Southern Trendkill.
I'm far beyond driven.
I'm far beyond driven. I think that is Pantera's most like pissed, unhinged album, in my opinion. I think Phil is just completely off his fucking rockers and he sounds psychotic and it's just like
That's
it's
heroin, Phil.
yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that's Phil filled as well. That's just Phil. Uh,
Just the way
so
that record starts. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
here we go. Um, okay, so with you keep saying like that pissed off feeling, which obviously despite the name of the band, the feel of the band, there is a lot of pissed offness that's coming out. But then, you meet you guys and you guys are just like super laid back, laughy, like jokey guys, which is usually how it goes anyways. Is that something that you do to help with like mental health, being able to balance life, being able to get it out in a healthy way? Or is it just like more of like the duality of, I mean, I guess it can be both, the duality of being a human.
Oh,
It's
it's real. Like,
yeah.
go ahead, Alex.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's difficult because people will try to put the two together sometimes. Of like, oh, that doesn't make sense. They're so nice off stage. Why are they so nice? Or like,
That's how it always is.
whatever they want to call it, yuppie. But it's like, would you rather that I was a dick and pissed off at you all the time? It's like, aren't you glad that this is my outlet? It's not that it's fake. It's just that I'm expressing everything within that. Yeah, otherwise, I'd be a terrible
Yeah.
person to be around.
Right.
I think that we're lucky that we were able to make this our career because it really is just like a catharsis for us, you know. And I think that metal is for so many people.
Yes.
I think that metal in general is just it's a safe place to go when you have those emotions of negativity and anger that you don't know what to do with, you know. And I think it's a safe way of channeling that energy where actually it's just like you could actually have fun with it, you know. So yeah, I think ultimately that's the message for Spite is getting out that, you know, it's not like make the world a better place and not like that at all. It's just like hey, like I'm fucking pissed off, we're pissed off, we're making this music and hopefully it can help you channel that shit in a healthy way too, you know, whatever.
To go
um
even deeper into what you're saying, Darius, it's like the whole album of New World Killer is kind of discussing that. It's like your urge and like your want to do some of these things that are against moral code, but it's like you are trying to face that yourself and make that decision because you know it's a battle between what you want to do and what you should be doing instead as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, it's important to address that we all have those duality parts in us and it's not something that we should necessarily hide from. It's something we just need to understand and pay more attention to. I had interviewed Glenn Benton of Deicide a while back and I went into that terrified thinking this guy's going to be an asshole because he kind of can be with interviewers and just with fans in general. And we laughed for almost an hour. We laughed so hard. I'm like, he was such a joy, so much fun, so funny. And I know that it seems like the more extreme the metal, the nicer the people are, because there is that them getting that out, that catharsis. But with
Yeah.
him in general, I was genuinely like, I'm gonna tank this. This is terrifying. He's gonna be a jerk, and I'm just gonna have to just smile and just be take it.
I think yeah, it's important to be kind to people in the scene. I think that like it's kind of why we're all here. Is because we're looking for that a little bit, and we're
Mhm.
looking for that community that all understands each other. So I think that why wouldn't we be like that's how I would want to be talked to. So it's
Yeah.
just I don't know. It's important for bands to treat their fans with respect. And I don't mean like, you should be responding to every person's message and blah blah blah. But when you're there, it's like you can treat people like people and they're the reason you're playing your music and that you're able to have a show and like it's I don't know. It's just important to remember that shit.
For sure. Yep, I agree. Outside of the musical aspect of things, do you guys have another interview coming right up? I don't want to keep taking.
I have a meegue with the label in a few
Okay.
minutes, but I can be a couple minutes late if we want
Okay.
to run through a little bit.
I'll just hurry and I'll segue to a question that I like to ask in October. Are you guys horror movie fans? And if so, what are some of your favorites?
Oh,
Damn, it's difficult to
definitely.
say nowadays because so many bad ones that have come out.
So many good ones too, though. There's been some killer ones lately.
Weapons was good. That was probably the most recent one that was like entertaining and original idea that I saw where I was like, damn, that was fun.
That was a really good one. And they're going to be doing the
Mm-hmm.
prequel with the ant.
I
Yes.
think to this day, I think Hereditary was one of the movies that just shook me to the core
Hard to beat
the
that.
most in modern day.
Yeah.
I thought Sinister was really great too
Oh
for like a
yeah.
modern day horror movie. It's just I think of movies that made me feel like kind of like upside down when I left the
Hmm.
theater, and that's what I look for going into a movie. It's like I want it to make me feel kind of like sick and disturbed. And those movies definitely, I remember leaving the theater and being like up, like in my bed, thinking about staring at the wall, and I think those were the two in recent history that like had that effect on me.
For sure.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Another super quick thing. I thought this was really interesting. So yesterday I talked with Paul of Trivium. He brought up jujitsu because Matt is big into jujitsu and they're going to be touring with Ginger. And one of the dudes from Ginger is in that. And then right after I interviewed Heavy Hitter, and Dane was talking about jujitsu, and I thought, oh, that's weird to have that same common thing in the same, day. And then he brought up you, Darius, about how they're wanting to do a collab with you because they think you're an incredible vocalist. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'm actually going to be talking with Darius tomorrow. And we actually talked about Weapons and Hereditary yesterday. And so I'm like in this weird, like serendipitous, like cycle that I'm really enjoying. It's been really cool. I'm
You're
like,
talking
okay, that
about
means I'm on the right track.
Heavy Hitter?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I became like kind of cool with their singer like a year ago. I got to meet him and hang out with him a little bit. And he's really dope, and he's really good at vocals too.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
could
you
see
guys
us
would.
definitely like ripping together somehow,
Yeah,
you know?
you guys would do awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to keep taking too much of your time. I could ask you a bajillion more questions. This album is absolutely incredible. I really appreciate you guys both taking the time with me.
You're
I
awesome. So
appreciate
easy to
you
bounce off
listening
of. I
to it.
appreciate you.
Yeah, and just giving your like honest feedback and telling us how you feel about it. That means a lot to us.
Well, I don't interview bands that I don't enjoy, but there's definitely ones that I'm like, oh, this is like a whole other level for me. And so it's exciting for me to be able to have that feeling because I consume a ton of music. So when there's an album that can like really, really excite me, I love that. So thank you guys for
Fuck
creating
yeah.
that.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome,
Let's keep the
awesome.
world turning in metal, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. And I'm so excited to see you guys in November.
Fuck
Oh, it's
yeah.
gonna be
What date will
awesome.
you be at?
The November 7th. It's in Boise or Garden
Boise. Okay,
City, I
that's
think it
right. Okay,
is.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
Great to talk to
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.